All right, all right. Yes, yes, yes. You know the day and the time it is. Time for another open court discussion live in the Counselor's Corner. I'm your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the Controversial Counselor. Joining me is my co host, the Big Bad Wolf, Herb Lewis.
Ow!
Boy, I mean, he on one tonight. Time to cook. On Monday, October 13th, 9 p.m., we are covering the topic marriage after 40, yay or nay. Welcome to our latest episode where we will tackle the question that's on many minds. Should you tie the knot if you're 40 and beyond? Marriage is a personal choice, but is it still right for you in your 40s, 50s, 60s or beyond? Let's dive into the pros and cons and real talk about what it means to get hitched at this stage in life. And stay tuned for another banger. Please like and share our video, and don't forget to tell some couples to tell other couples to subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. Still sitting at 977 subs, 23 away from 1K. It's going to happen soon. Stay locked in, everyone. So here we are. Forward to another great discussion. Marriage 40 and over, yay or nay. But before we get into that, what's going on, Big Bad Wolf? Any housekeeping news or any updates in your world?
Nah, man. I'm just, I'm plotting and scheming and plotting as always. Had a physical today. Doctors are tripping on my blood pressure. Said it's a little high. Well, they gonna have to deal with it the same way I'm gonna have to deal with it. I have to reschedule the MRI. I don't know. I got a little claustrophobic, I suppose I should say, last time. So I'm gonna have to find out a way to get through this. But other than that, man, ripping my living room apart, the carpet, the walls. It's a little bit of an undertaking, but it's gonna be well worth it in the end because when I get this heater put in here, it's gonna be summer in this motherfucker when it's cold outside,
Mm.
and that's something I can live with. Yeah, buddy, ain't that right, boy? Yeah, I know. Yeah, the electric bills with last year were killing me, man. Because my plumbing is messed up, so I really can't use the in-house furnace gas forced there because it'll blow all that junk through the house, and I'm not trying to inhale all that nonsense. So it is what it is. I got to get it done. Ain't nobody to do it but me.
All right, all right. Nothing really popping on this. Went to the dentist for a checkup, and of course, your mouth is a vital part. Had got a few mishaps that need to get corrected, but I guess you never realize how certain things is all connected, and little things lead to big things. And even him mentioning, do I have sleep apnea? Because he was saying that, with that sometimes like acid could get on your teeth, and um, what he was saying, he was basically saying that I can't even think of it actually, but one of the things he was saying that if you have sleep apnea, obviously you sleep with your you breathe through your mouth. He said, but a lot of times people mouth can get dry throughout the night. He said, and saliva is not only for food; it's kind of for secretion of when you have food and particles in your teeth that it'll kind of secrete it. He said, but if it dries out and the stuff gets stored in your teeth and all that stuff, that's how people get the decayed teeth. And he was like, and with the sleep apnea, obviously, that could lead to, strokes or heart attacks and stuff like that. It's like, so it's important. So all of this stuff be connected. And we often talked about connective pieces in our show, like a lot of little things lead to big things, whatever. A lot of things are connected that you think, oh, that don't have nothing. My teeth don't have anything to do with anything. But we had a dentist on the show about a year ago, and he was saying about, how your mouth and how if you got a lot of decay and different things going on there that you can get infections and that can lead to uh, to your bloodstream and you can have heart attacks and things of that nature. So something, it's always something to think about, folks, especially as you get older and you don't want to be that person that got that serious yuck mouth.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people, y'all like to rock it like that. Y'all okay with it and stay in people's faces and all that stuff, but don't realize the repercussions. And some of you have, uh, even if you don't have good insurance, well, some of you may have Medicaid and stuff like that, where they will pay for a deal of that. But nah, y'all still like walking around, uh, rotten ass teeth, the rotten ass teeth, missing teeth, and just don't care. Uh, but then again, I often wonder when I see like some professional athletes or commentators and stuff like that, and I be like, man, they grill should be a little better than what it is with all the money that
Yeah.
they got. And I know people have a fear of going to the dentist. That might be the most feared man or woman, the dentist, because you freaking powerless when you sitting there. That is a intimidating factor right there. Whatever that make the strongest weak. Whatever like that. I I should I should post that. Whatever hashtag that. The dentist is one of the most powerful men or powerful women in the universe.
Just one other thing I want to mention, and we discussed this before. We've talked about this a few times. We've never really ended up getting anything materialized or off the ground. But I picked up a, a, a something pack anyway. It's called the Purpose Bundle and Scenario Cards. It has 3 packs in here. One dealing with questions about the self, the second set about life, and the third set about the world. Now, the reason why I picked this up is, and I'm getting ready to get roasted, I already know, is because it reminds me a lot of the things that I have in my upcoming book. Whenever the hell I can get that out. We have been tinkering with the idea of going live with the Counselor's Corner over a 2, maybe 3 day weekend here in our home city of Niagara Falls. I'm not sure how many people would be interested in doing something like that, actually meeting up in person and then filming a live episode of this particular program with particular scenarios that members of the studio audience can participate in by acting out, doing the role play, and we can actually pick up Q&A from there in terms of what people would actually do, and we can shoot that live. Now, the only problem would be the particular dates, because in the summertime, Niagara Falls can get, hella busy, and the hotel rates would be fairly pricey. I'll drop a note in the group, see how many people would be interested in attending. If we can get, between 25 and 30 people to come, I might be able to speak to my people at my place of employment and see if we can't get group rates. Or you're more than welcome to see what you can get on your own via methods that you can use. And like I said, we can get together. I don't think in terms of provisions such as food, beverages, depending on how many people would show up, we would provide, at least when we're together, we would cover, or I would at least cover the cost of feeding the group there. So food choices, beverage choices, you can send those in if you're willing to come. If anybody wants to contribute, we can set that up as well. I'm not sure what the prices is and a lot of stuff. I could actually speak to some people and get it wholesale, so I'm not concerned about that. And with anything I do in terms of for this particular platform in the group, I'm more than happy to come out of pocket because at the end it serves all the needs of people who listen to the show, people who've contributed to the show. It's my way of giving back to all you guys who have subbed to us and say thank you for the time that you spend watching us and the sub. So that's something just to keep in mind. We'll run that down. We got enough time to plan that, and it gives people enough time to decide when would be the best dates for everybody because travel becomes important. And I know people have jobs. You don't want to take too much time off from your jobs to come do something like this. So we'll put that out there and feelers.
Yeah, we always been talking about that. It'll be a nice little weekend thing to come to the falls and even go to the Canadian side if you never been to the falls. What I find interesting is a lot of few of my coworkers over the last few years have been to the falls, and they're like, "Oh, David, we going to the falls," and they was like never been, decided to go, and they said they enjoyed it. And like Herb said, as far as food and all of that stuff, we have enough folks that will throw something together and you'll eat. That's the one thing you'll do is eat well all throughout.
Yeah.
You be like, damn, all we did was sit around and eat. But
Because I mean,
that's
honestly,
everything people take care of.
how many social media? What exactly is social media if you're not being social? And the funny thing about it is, yesterday I was coming back from doing laundry, and I happened to be sitting outside the bus station, bumped into a female that was on my friends list, and I didn't even recognize it because she looked so different from her profile picture. So we sitting there kicking it, and I asked her for a number. I said, "You on Facebook?" She said, "Yes." She gave me a name. I said, "Wait a minute." Pulled it up and I said, "Look." She said, "Oh my God, we're friends." I said, "Yeah." Get out, people. And we talked about this before. How many of us speak to our neighbors? How many of us actually know our neighbors if you haven't been living in the same home or cul-de-sac or whatever for at least a decade? We need to come together. We need to get to know each other beyond glass and plastic and little snippets back and forth because for all the stuff that we seem to not agree on, I guarantee you we agree on more things than we disagree on. And I know there's little cliques in the group and people can't stand everybody. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not saying we have to love each other. I'm just saying I think it would be better for us as people, humans, to be a little bit more sociable. That way it takes some of the vitriol out of there. Well, I mean, we can joke, we can all get together. We can say, man, you know what? You're a lot more pleasant in person than you are on the keyboard. That's all I'm saying.
Mm.
Greg, if you okay, that is an excellent question. Let me read that. Greg Hooper asks, "Do we need a valid passport to get to the other side of the falls? In other words, go to Canada. If you do not have a passport, passports can get a little bit of pricey. What I want you to do, and listen carefully, is go down to your local division of motor vehicles and apply for what they call an enhanced driver's license, EDH. What that will do is that would allow you ground transit into Canada as well as Mexico, and it would allow you to fly to those two destination countries. It behaves as a passport. When they were implementing the passport, making it mandatory after 9/11, the states wanted in, and the federal government relented, and this is what they came up with. So this is the compromise. So remember, an enhanced driver's license, all 50 states have a version of this. So you don't need to go out and get the passport. The enhanced driver's license is much cheaper. I think $60, $70, depending on what state you live in, and it will allow you ground transit into Canada. Excellent question, Greg.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
It seemed like the volume went down lower.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Um, So that's that. But now to dig into the meats and potatoes of the show, marriage after 40, yay or nay? Well discussed question. A lot of probably going back and forth on social media with the people in their 40s, 50s about um should they make it happen? So I'm gonna give you kind of piggyback and forth. And here's one of the first reasons I'm gonna say. One of the pros to getting married, emotional maturity.
Mhm.
By 40, individuals have a better understanding of themselves and what they want in a partner. So you have lived your life experiences. You've maybe in a few failed relationships, understand what you did wrong, how you can come back better, but you're looking for your second half of your year to kind of settle things in and find that life partner and hey, ride off to the sunset or build together and enjoy the second half of your life. So in that case, you may say, yay, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm not getting any younger. Um, I'm not out here chasing skirts. I just want that one, and I want to travel together. I want to build together, um, have a great foundation, and have our peace, and just do everything on our terms. Because another part to that is financial stability. You may be at a certain time that you finally stable with your uh, income, and you're like, hey, I want to do things on my terms. I want to, we decide we're going to, build a house together or add on to a house, and travel, and maybe do a business together or something. So in that case, you may be say, I'm all for it. And you may say, you know what? I'm handing in the player keys. I'm getting all that stuff out of my system. I'm gonna live my as a lot of you say, my best life from here on out. So in that case, some people may be all about the yays for that and ready to make things happen.
Absolutely. People in conjunction with that, people will probably ask, why do people originally get married? And I'll step step back in time. People say most people get married to start a family. They say, well, why would you want to start a family at that age? Well, let's look at it like this. The age of first marriage for at least most of the people in the United States is moving to the 30s, late 20s, 27 for men, I think 26 for women. 10 years is not that big of a stretch. By the time you get those two get married, they get situated, they may have a child, they look up and they say, we're looking at 40. And what happens if you get divorced? Because the divorce rate is significant, at least in this country. And then you start looking at the number of people who at 40, one statistic I looked at said that the number of people marrying in their 40s is increasing. Recent data indicates that 25% of 40-year-olds in the United States have never been married. That's a significant portion of people. And when you think about what David just said, you get to the point where you understand yourself, your finances are better. You want to do some things. And you don't necessarily have to do those things alone. You can find somebody that you want to partner up with and say, hey, I think, you know what? I think if we put your eggs together with my bacon, we go out and buy some toast, we can have a great breakfast. And a lot of people are looking at it like that. And they're saying, hey, look, I like to eat, but why should I eat by myself? Why not go get somebody else to eat with? Because I'm at that particular point. I'm 53 and I haven't. And it's funny. I was talking to one of my older brothers, and I dropped that on him, and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait a minute." He said, "You'd get married?" I said, "Yeah, I've never ruled out marriage." He said, "When is this?" I said, "It's always been on the stove for me." I said, "I've just never discussed it with anybody because it didn't matter." And he's like, oh, he was blown away. He was like, "Yeah, let me sit my ass down." I said, "Yeah, I'm not a I've been anti-child, but marriage, no, marriage is it should be a game changer. And it should be a game changer for all the right reasons. People keep talking about love, this and that. I don't give a damn about love. It reminds me of the song "I Am a Rock." And if you haven't listened to it, go listen to the part they talk about love. Simon and Garfunkel, by the way. I'm not looking for love. I got enough love for me and anybody else that come along and decide they want to get in the wagon and ride shotgun with me. I'm looking for somebody who I can coexist with, who understands that, okay, the couch is no longer leaning against the wall. It's down. I'm getting ready to move some furniture around. You know what? She might get some say. She might get some saying how the furniture is placed. She might get some saying how or what color I paint the walls. But if we go in together, hey, I might just sit back and let her decorate the entire house. Say, you know what? Here's the money. You do what you want to do. I just want to chair an ottoman and Sundays and specific times of the year to me so I can watch football. That's it. That's it. Because marriage becomes about compromise, and a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people think they can get married and they still can't continue to live the lifestyle and the way that they did prior. Sorry, that's not what marriage is supposed to be about. And if you're thinking that's what marriage is, you're gonna end up divorced or unhappy real quick. And I use the term unhappy in the manner that unhappy means you're gonna wake up miserable, you're gonna be picking fights, and they'll never be resolved because you're thinking one way and marriage requires you to think another way. Now I know people out there are saying, well, how the hell does he know what it takes to be married? Newsflash, people. Just like I know how to feed a baby, just like I know how to bathe a baby, just like I know how to change a baby's diaper. I don't have to be engaged in something to understand what it takes to make that work. Relationships are relationships. Relationships require communication. Relationships require compromise. I'm more than capable of doing both. So, for all the naysayers out there who want to try and jump on the big bad wolf, suggesting or stating that he don't know this and he don't know that, there you go. If you want to challenge me, you're more than welcome to come on the platform or fire one up in the counselor's corner. I'm more than ready to handle it. No problem. Nah, man, been there, done that. I got 11 toes down and a messed up finger to stipulate. There's some things about me that ain't gonna change, and me watching football, that's one of them. I don't I don't have any bad habits. I'm not out late partying. I'm not running like David said. I'm not running around chasing skirts. Although I do have a few women that I would like to convert with from time to time. Like like I said, I like to play a few records every now and then. But you know what? If the right record presents itself, then I could turn in that Technique 1500 and go get me a regular turntable and I can play that record over and over and over again until that record no longer plays, until it warps, until it starts doing this on the turntable. I'm cool with that, but I'm just not doing it for any of your body. So if you're in your body and you think you got a shot at the wolf, you then better be right. And I mean that in more ways than one.
Well, I think one of the things too is have talked about that the love aspect, and then understanding that marriage is a business,
Mhm.
and it's a lot of transactions, and a lot of coming together with finances and again, we talk about building. It's not always it's knowledge, but it's also with finances too. It's two people coming together. You got to have some type of marriage goals or relationship goals, things that you want to do or you want to accomplish. Again, like I said, you may be the point like, okay, yeah, we definitely it's working out. We well connected. We do love each other, but this is the point of our life. We want to travel. We want to do this. We want to do that. Uh, and you got to have some type of business sense to be able to pull it off. Once if there's no balance in that, then that's when things will falter, and you will as quick as you got married, as quick as on social media to say you're single or whatever the case is. I would never put all my stuff on there anyway like that, but some folks they live by it. That's like shit. If it happens, shit within within hours, they already went on and changed their status to married, or if they're not together, back single. I don't know why they put so much stock in that, but that's what some people do. I guess that's their concern, that's their issue. But again, that it is a business. But let me kind of jump into some of the cons. Let's see. Well, when you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, you have your established habits. Uh, by 40, people have deeply ingrained habits and routines that can be challenging to change. Some things they're not trying to give up on. And again, we mentioned compromise, but for some people, there's no such thing as compromisation. So they would struggle with that uh, because if they're say for example, if you're with someone and they're all about the holiday season and they're big into that, and we oh you need to wear we need to get matching pajamas, we all go over my sister house, everybody, and we stay over there and we watch Christmas movies, we bake, we drink and all that. You need to partake in that. If you're sort of
Mhm.
like, nah, I don't get caught up in that shit, I ain't doing that, or whatever, it's not gonna work. It's not. Now I can see me saying I would be like, nah, I ain't doing all that. But I think eventually I might start off saying that, but eventually I might like, all right, I'm gonna do it, whatever, because it's not hurt. It's not killing me. It's not killing me. But the jerk in me may say for a while leading up to it, nah, I ain't about to do all that. I ain't doing that. Or, but then once I think about it and know that it may mean something to that person, then I'll come around. So you got to be able to come around, and you got to think like, yeah, is this harming me, or is this really like what it, it's not killing me, so I'm willing to compromise and give her that or give him that. So you got to be somebody willing to bend a little.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Change can be difficult. I because there's some things I'm just not willing to do. And you mentioned the holidays. It's funny for those of you who were watching last week when I talked about the prospective date or the prospective date, the date I went on, that was used for it. That was used for the woman. She's Christmas is a big thing. Holidays are a huge thing, and she's one of those people that like, gets together with the family. For me, like I said, the holidays other than Thanksgiving, I'm looking. Do I work? I get paid time and a half. That's good. That's what I'm looking for. So, for me, I run into somebody, I'm like David, bah humbug. Call me Scrooge McDuck. Call me the Grinch. I'm not necessarily looking to steal any joy. I'm just not. I'm not partaking in that. And the funny thing about that is this: I adore Christmas music. The one of the ways you can tell I'm in a really, really good mood is you will hear me singing "Carol of the Bells." I think "Carol of the Bells" is a cool song. Love it. And from time to time, it's the middle of summer, 90 degrees, and I'm singing "Carol of the Bells." People are like, you don't celebrate Christmas, but you're singing a Christmas carol. I'm like, music is music. Music is meant to be played any time of the year, any time of day. It sets a mood. It doesn't have to be Christmas for me to sing Christmas carols. I don't. It reminds me of the song "One Week," in the lyrics that I'm the kind of guy that laughs at a funeral. If you can't understand what I mean, then you soon will. That's me. And when I first heard that line, I was like, "Yo, that's some diabolical shit." Because who laughs at a funeral? Like honestly, is a funeral time to be laughing? And my answer is yes. Why? Why not celebrate? A lot of people go to a funeral and the first thing they're thinking about is this person is no longer going to be around. Physically, yes. But as long as you celebrate that person's life in terms of what they did when you were around and how y'all had fun, that person is never really gone spiritually. We talked about you. As a matter of fact, I'll use Kevin Samuels. We hear his name more now that he's no longer among the living than we did when he was. And for me, that's fan fucking tastic. That man's name should be etched somewhere in Facebook lore because of what he did and what he, say this loosely, what he gave his life for and his purpose. A lot of people are starting to see what people have been talking about for at least a decade. And some people are coming around. They're saying, you know what he said wasn't bad. We may not like his quote unquote delivery, his tongue, but you know what? It needed to be said. Shout out to the Ask a Brother podcast. If you don't know who that young man is, I think his name is James Jeffrey St. James. Look that brother up. He he dropping some gems, like serious gems on his podcast. He's a, a licensed psychologist, I do believe. And yo, there's a lot of things that he discussed that David and I have been branded like we hate black women, and he breaks it down so succinctly that when you start to listen, and I'm just saying, just listen without trying to rebut, without trying to correct, without trying to deflect, you understand where we as black people, where we get things wrong. And and then when you come into that realization, especially at our age, you say, you know what? Maybe I can find somebody, and women are good for saying this, and I don't blame them. Maybe I can find somebody that will help me heal. Because that's the popular phrase that a lot of women, I need somebody to help me heal. Well, first of all, I think healing is a personal thing, but I'm not gonna rob you of your belief that you think you need somebody to help you heal. And marriage can do that. But it has to be the right circumstances, it has to be the right person, and C, most importantly, you have to be willing to listen. A lot of women, as much as y'all think y'all emotionally intelligent and y'all like to listen and you can listen well, you don't. I'm here to tell you, they may not like it and come up from the wolf. You know, the wolf don't care if you don't like it. It needs to be said. Some of y'all just terrible listeners because you're listening to respond, you're not listening to understand. And that submarines a lot of things, not just marriages, but work relationships. You find yourself on the outs with your manager or on the outs with another coworker, all because you didn't want to listen. You thought they were attacking you, thought they were bashing you, and they was just putting something out there that you didn't like. It happens. We all, at one time or another, have been told something by our partners, by somebody who's dating, by a friend, maybe a family member, and we thought it was wrong. And then you start asking other people, and you say, damn, why didn't I recognize this? Well, the last person that knows that they funky It's a person that's funky. Everybody smells you coming, but you don't realize it until somebody say, "Hey, yo, dude," like David said, you need to go brush your teeth. You need to go see your dentist. You need to go hop in the shower. You need to go take care of that. So listen, compromise. Um, every day you wake up is a day to improve, and successive improvements make you a better person, a more desirable person in your later years than you ever were in your earlier years. And all those women that used to pass you by before say, "Hey, look, you changed. You used to be this and that and this, and you know what? You're all right." And that's when you start to build. And next thing y'all 6, 7 months in, you see the writing on the wall. You say, "Hey, why don't we actually try this? Why don't we try getting an apartment together, a 1 year lease, 12-month lease rather, and let's see how this works." Because that's what they say you should do anyway. At least new school people say you should move in and live together, cohabitate before you actually get married. And I personally don't think that's a bad idea. I'm going to add to that. I also think you should take a vacation, 4 or 5 day vacation. People laugh when I said this last time. I said because that's when you actually really get to excuse me, when you get to learn about a person. Take that vacation. You'll find out whether you really can be around that person and you want to be around that person. And the downside is you'll find out real quick whether you like the way that person keeps their home, whether you like how messy that person is, and you don't waste time. A lot of people, they think they have an unlimited time supply. Even at our age, oh, I got time. Time for what? Time to keep chasing people that you're not compatible with. You got kids that are college age, and you still out here doing the same things you were doing when you were in your mid 20s. Well, I don't care. They can like it or they can kiss my ass. And then when people start getting paired up and booed up, you waiting around for cuffing season. And then Melvin
Hmm.
come knocking at your door. You mad because the only thing you can get is a Melvin.
It's that time. It is that time. Well, one of the things is I don't know how, and I don't know what I posted something yesterday about living together, some real clip, and people was like, well, you know, in biblical terms, that's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to get married before you live in. I think it's that does not make absolutely no sense to me at all. Without living together, um, like it doesn't. You can pray to whoever. Uh, you just don't have two people. Now you're married. You got a place, and y'all walk in, and all of a sudden, y'all live together without any type of trial run. Who goes and buys a car without looking at it or test driving it? Maybe having a mechanic, if it ain't brand new, a mechanic check it out or something. You're gonna do something. You just I never understood that. Some people it may work, but I think that to me the natural progression is to eventually live together, pay bills, like Herb says, see what each other habits are, and see if it's tolerable instead of getting married then coming together. Like I did not know this person was like that. I did not know he was that messy. I did not know she was that
Mm-hmm.
controlling. I put my stuff here and I know where it's at. She goes right behind it, touch it. Now I don't know where anything is at. Um, like it's so many quirks or whatever. So I'm never, I'm never go would subscribe to that. Unfortunately, I think you need to um, live together and see what's what you even before you even take that step. And for those that it didn't work, maybe that's the reason. If you said, nah, we did it the right way, because we don't know what the right way is. The right way
Hmm.
back in the days was the right way back then. It's a different time now, different circumstances. So I wouldn't, me personally, I wouldn't subscribe to that at all. And that's an absolute. But to go back to what was we at? Some more pros. Companionship. People want, you want companionship. Getting older, you want somebody to spend time with. You want somebody to have a nice skin. We say cuffing season, depending on where you live. You want somebody to, uh, you know, nestle with and just enjoy each other. And don't get me wrong, a lot of times we could say that, but depending on the nature of your living arrangement, sometimes women be in their room, they have their spot, guys be in their man cave or whatever, and y'all might come together or hang out for a little bit. Y'all both may have y'all separate places. When I think about it, I even think about my grandparents. I don't know. They might have watched TV for a little bit together here and there, but I just remember my grandfather going from room to room, controlling all the TVs, whatever. Had a baseball game on his in the bedroom, come to the living room, switch the channel uh, to football, then go to the other room. And I just remember him getting cussed out by my grandmother, like, yeah, hey, you ain't about to control everything, but that's what worked. It worked for them because when you think about coming together, you think about interdependence. We've talked about that for years. All that I'm an independent woman and all of that, or maybe you're a dependent woman, like, oh, a man has to take care of me. Our ultimate goal is to be interdependent. You depend on each other based on your strengths and weaknesses, whatever. If somebody's a better organizer, better at balancing out a checkbook and taking care of the bills, whatever, then there's no point of going back and forth. That's their thing. You let them have it. Some people may be better, cook better, and it could be man or woman, or
Hmm.
meal prepper, or organizing vacations, or how to say grocery shopping, how to save, get the best bang for your buck. You let them have it. You let them have it. Sometimes you got to let go and release
Yeah.
and say, that's your thing. I'm not going to argue. But some of us like to argue over any damn thing. We don't have no knowledge, skills on certain areas and argue it down to feel like to someone. Man, maybe sometimes I just say I'll just be passive because I'm not about to fight a battle that I know I can't win or don't don't have the knowledge base or the experience to argue with them. And a lot of times we get into these petty arguments over things that the other person is stronger in that area. Their life experiences have granted them the ability to say, this is this is what it is, this is what it should be, and sometimes you just gotta eat humble pie. Tastes good.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes instead of wedding cakes, it should be humble pie. Serve a little humble pie for the wedding dessert. That should have hit right. It'll hit right for you because sometimes marriage and all stuff is practicing humility. Well, that's in relationships. Period. To have the ability to be humble. and practice humility and say, yeah, I can't. I don't got a dog in this fight. You right, baby. You right. You got me.
Yeah, it's like it's no different than two companies merging together. You know, there's two CEOs and one has to step aside. And for a lot of people, I was gonna say a lot of men, but just a lot of people who are accustomed to going and coming on their own, that doesn't necessarily have to change. And what I mean by that is this: you're a guy that likes to hang out after work. You in construction. After work, you go down to the bar. You sit there and you shoot the breeze with your coworkers or the bartender, whoever comes in. So local watering, or y'all talk about politics. You talk about sports. You talk about current events. Find you a woman who understands and she's amenable to that, because far too often we find somebody that does not mess with us and we try and make them mess with us. It's the worst possible thing that you can do. You don't force a square peg into a round hole. It never works. And this is part of getting to know what you who you are, understand what your boundaries are, and understand how you fit into the world. Everybody fits into the world differently. You can take a set of identical twins and they're not going to fit into the world in the exact same way. And a lot of people, especially when they're younger, they struggle to find what they're supposed to be. You hear a lot of people saying, "Well, I don't know what I'm supposed to be. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't have a clue. I'm just out here working, paying bills, and I can't get ahead in the rat race. I'm stuck." Well, the reason why you're stuck is because you never
I don't
ventured
know.
out.
You can see in the broadcast, it seems like it's lagging on that end. I'm just watching it spin. I don't know. Maybe y'all could and
I said, you're fine from what I see. I don't see anything different. And I don't know. It
you're
could be
back on
from.
here now, but
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So people need to understand that, especially in this iteration of humanity with the internet, things are moving quickly. Very few things are stagnant. So if you're one of those people who thinks that you can stand around and things are gonna wait for you, you are in for a very, very tragic existence. Just like AI's, and I was looking at something today, and there was an AI course, and I always take a look at this type of stuff just because I like to see what's going on with that aspect of science, if you will. Um, a lot of videos, a lot of content is being made using AI, so it's really, really difficult to tell and discern what's authentic from what is inauthentic. And if you're one of those people who are easily fooled and easily manipulated, you're gonna be set up for some real bad things. And scammers are coming online, and one of the ways they target people is through social media. They use your heartstrings to pull at you. To all of a sudden, now you find yourself caught up in some donation scheme trying to feed homeless people in such said country. They had a disaster. When you come to find out, this country ain't had no goddamn disaster, and you done gave a couple $100s to this organization. You say, "Damn, I could have used that couple $100s to go down and do this and that," all because you refuse to keep up with what's going on in the world. And it could be anything. It could be something at the local level, state, national, global. Get out. Stop living such a cloistered life. Over the last few days, I know personally, I've resorted to journaling about things that I've seen on my day to day move through the falls. Yesterday, like I said, I met somebody that was on my Facebook friends list. Didn't realize that. Um, Bumped into a couple people from England today, and in one place that I never thought I would see them at the bus station across the street from a mall. I was going to a doctor's appointment. You never know where you gonna meet somebody. You never know where you gonna find a potential wife. Go to New York City, man. Go hang out in Central Park. Go to Las Vegas. Walk down the strip. Go to Toronto. Hang out at the zoo. Go to um um Rio de Janeiro. Visit the Statue of David. Go. Go. Move through the world. It's a big place. Don't just confine yourself to this country or Europe or South America or Australia, although Australia's a little tougher to get off of because it's kind of expensive. But go. Let the world, and I used to tell this to my mentees, be a pearl in the world and treat the world like your clam. Move about the clam as a pearl. And the reason why I use a pearl is because in some way, shape, or form, all of us have the ability to shine. It's just a matter of what we're going to shine for. But make sure when you shine it for the right purpose. So if you're looking for that mate, you find that mate. That mate say, hey, you know what? I like the cut of your jib. I like the sound of your voice. But don't find one that wants to abuse you. Don't find one that wants to use you because you be singing that song, Sweet Dreams Are Made of These. And next thing you know, you're singing the blues talking about, oh, man, I thought I found the one. Well, yeah, you found the one. You found the one that took advantage of you, manipulated you because you thought she was the one. You weren't thorough enough. You didn't follow my rules. And next thing you know, you're sitting there saying, damn, I'm in divorce court. This little business we built, I had to protect myself. No LLC, no nothing. And about to lose half of not only the business, but what you had. Yeah, prenups are a real thing. I'm sorry to burst people's bubble, but if you walking down this path and you've accumulated something in life, protect yourself. And I will say this in all honesty. Sometimes a prenup is not about the individual you're marrying. Sometimes a prenup is about you. You know why? Because sometimes when feelings and emotions are getting involved, we're blindsided. And as a man who, particularly if you've never been married, you've never walked down the aisle, and you find somebody that you're thoroughly smitten with, you get caught up in the fervor, and you make no mistake. People talk about the emotions of men and women being different. At a base level, they're all the same. It's how we handle them that's different. So prenups are not always about the other individual. Sometimes prenups are about the individual who's actually putting forth it because they don't want to be blindsided by themselves. Case in point, Jaden Jaden Smith's mother. She's keeping that man focused on the game of football. And a lot of people are not liking the way his mother is handling him. I'm like, you know what? Good for her, excellent for him. And people that are gonna hear that and say, "Oh, she cock blocking." No, she making sure that man and his money don't part to no foolishness. And he's in his, I think Jaden is 23, 24.
You talking about Jaden Daniel for
Yeah,
the
Jaden
Commanders quarterback?
Smith. Yeah, the Commanders quarterback.
Oh, okay.
When he gets done playing football, he's gonna be probably 34, 35. He will be in the prime of his physical life with money to burn. He is going to be. Matter of fact, I'll give you somebody else who did that, who is living the dream life, and that's Derek Jeter. I think Derek Jeter's in his 40s now, married, 4 or 5 children. I think all daughters.
Jeter only in his 40s.
I think so. Let me
Hmm.
let me check that out. But he could not be any more content with his life than
Cat.
what he is currently. And this is what people don't understand because we don't often see that um regarding athletes. What we generally hear about is the athletes who got married in their career. Matter of fact, Miami Dolphins um receiver, I can't recall his name right now. I'm sorry, Derek's
Tyreek.
51.
Oh, he's
Yeah, Derek
51.
Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill. Going through all this nonsense. Why? Because just like I said, the prenup. He got caught up in the fervor and didn't realize now he's blown out his ACL. And for those of you who don't understand how significant that is, that's going to have an impact on his career. So he's no longer going to be the cheetah outrunning everybody. He's going to have to learn to play the football game the way some other receivers play it. Run better routes,
He's washed.
be
He's
better
done.
things. Well, I will say this much. Um, the only person I saw ever to come back from an ACL and still be the same person was Adrian Peterson. And Adrian Peterson was a freak of nature. He came back in the
Well,
calendar year, which was unprecedented, and was still catching right. So when I talk about these things,
well, I think.
I use the high.
Well, I think
Go ahead.
fires. I think fires him, man. He like 31, 32, and the fact that most of his game relied on his speed. He's not. If you take that element away from him, I don't know if he's the threat like that anymore. So it would have happened in this world of business. They'll probably end up waiving him or something like that. And, unfortunately, and then other teams were like, he's not that dude that he was before. He's not that threat. When you
Yeah.
that fast, you open up the whole football field for everything. Yeah, I just don't. And I keep glancing overhead at this Bills
Yeah.
and Falcons game, man. The Bills they're irritating me because they're
And
struggling against Atlanta. But I don't
that
think
game's on
he's
the
going to
road.
be that same dude, huh?
That game's on the road.
Yeah, Buffalo had the opportunities. They done got the ball a couple times, and they still stuck 21-14 against Atlanta like they got a high-powered defense. And you should be marching up and down the field with them. But that's what separate the pretenders from the contenders. But I wanted to get on some other points as far as
Yeah.
the reasons to think twice when you talk about different priorities. Individuals in the age group may have different priorities, such as retirement plans,
Hmm.
health concerns
Hmm.
for adult children. All of this stuff plays a factor. You may be at the point that you say, shit, I'm about to walk away from this damn job. I'm done working. Uh, as Greg said, we need to switch to being Lions fans as they took an L last night. Now, I'm
Yeah.
good on that. Uh, but if you're at that stage that you say, shit, I didn't put in 30 some years at my job, I'm looking to venture off at this. Sometimes if you're in a new relationship, that could be a thing because say if they're younger than you and they don't have those years and experience in you sitting around on fishing trips on the golf course and you got a full pension or whatever coming in and they're still working, maybe a problem. It may be an issue. And you have to think about that. You're not missing a beat. You like, hey man, could you get this time off? Well, I can't take this time off because we took off that. Well, I'm about to head over here. One of my friends, college friends, is having something, so I'm gonna be over there for a few days. wait, you just, do you ever sit down? I've sat down. I didn't work. Now I got the money. I'm going wherever I want to go,
Yeah.
and I'm not missing anything anymore. That may become an issue. As far as that, and then you think about health concerns. We already know. Get older in your 40s and 50s, and someone start having health issues. The role that can play. Are they going to be a lifetime partner? What health issues are you having? Is it going to add more stress to your life that you wasn't looking for, or if it's something that happened unexpectedly that you like, man, I didn't sign up for this. We know that it's not absolute, but we know that women, most women may deal better with their husband or something facing you know health issues and being there and being supportive compared to a man if he have to deal with that. Sometimes we lack the nurturing and the caregiving skills, and that could create issues when you think about the cons, and then adult children. Uh, this that could be funny and add chaos too, because we know like mothers, they so they so caring, they're so loving. They let their adult children, no matter what, that's their baby. I'm not gonna turn my back on my baby. Uh, I'll give them my life savings if they need this, they need that. Oh, they go 5,000 out of the account because
Yeah.
their car, something happened to their car, and a father, it could be that their damn dad. He like, yo, hold the fuck up. Like, yo, what is going on here? And because you may feel like I gave them all the tools. I told them not to do this, not to do that. If they follow this blueprint, everything will be fine. But just think about when mom say, you know what? Don't tell your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And this is cases where they got kids together. But if you coming together and you don't have kids together, and you sitting there like looking at the person's side eye, like, oh, here he come. Anytime they call, it's always something. Uh, you could be sitting somewhere on the cell phone and see that her child, her daughter or son called, and you ain't answered the phone. You just looked at it, like, okay, I know. It's always something. It's always something. It may be hard for somebody to deal with. Like, I'm not trying to get into this. This is becoming more stressful than anything. I can't even have the full you because your grown ass kids got all your attention. Like, hell, we on vacation. We some here, and your phone keep ringing one after another. Like, damn, this is not what I wanted. Something
Yeah.
got to think about.
No, it's funny because Deion Sanders' son asked him for 5 mil. Deion said, no, partner, you can't get that.
Mm,
And we know Deion has it. But it's to what David is saying. Some women find it very difficult. And I'm not going to say men don't either, but men tend to be a little more pragmatic when it comes to certain things. But women, if he need it and I got it, he can have it. And that's the quickest way to move from financial stability to financial instability. And the last thing you want to do when you reach a certain age is start messing up your money because it's not coming unless you have it coming like that through investments and annuities. I know a lot of people are well, they were up until yesterday, but anyway, a lot of people are doing well in terms of investing in crypto. Everything has a date, an expiration date. Everything is finite. The money don't always roll in for long. So while it does, you got to be smart with it. You have, excuse me, you have to make smart moves. You can't be irresponsible. Well, you can be. It doesn't pay to be irresponsible, but being irresponsible with your money and you looking to uh commingle with funds with somebody, uh, quickest way to divorce court. That guy or that lady is gonna be like, oh no, no, uh-uh. I didn't work all this time to get to this point to give this money away. No way. We got a business we're trying to run, and all the profits you take and you give to your child because your child is irresponsible. Your child out here now he done got two kids by two different women. We sat there and I sat there when you talked to him and told him, hey, you out of college now. You can't afford to be running around here messing with these women like that. Oh, pops, I got it. I'm the man. I got these women under control. Yeah, you had them under control until you don't have them under control anymore. All of a sudden now you sitting in paternity court in a custody dispute. Meanwhile, they're trying to bilk your pockets because they know you coming from money. They said, well, your father got it. Get it from him. They're trying to tap you for five grand every month. That's 60 lards per year. And you got two people trying to do this to you. You ain't got 100 grand. You ain't sitting on that type of cash because you just starting out in your career.
Mm.
That's why people will say no. They're like, I see the way you handle money. I see the way you do this. Oh no. Wait a minute. You smoke weed? Just a little bit. Oh man, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, babe. I can't. You got glaucoma? No. So you just smoke weed just to smoke weed? Yeah. You didn't know. He might have been hiding that weed habit. He might, when he go down to the bar, it's legal. So they duck into the back room. They roll up a couple joints, pass it around. He come home. You look at his eyes. His eyes is kind of red. You know he ain't got to drink beer. You smell a faint smell of, man, why you say, "Hey, do you smoke weed?" Yeah.
Mm.
You never told me. No, I didn't think it was a problem. Now you compromise. He never lied to you. He just didn't disclose it. Now some people will say, well, an omission is a lie by omission. Is it? Is it really? Because this person's always smoked weed their entire life. It's never affected them negatively. They went and put in 35, 40 years in construction or teaching or some other trade or profession. And now they just want to sit back. They just want to sit back and toke, drink. They ain't bothering nobody. His behavior is not erratic. He's not abusive. He was a good father. His marriage didn't work out. Or I'm sorry, his marriage. His his the mother of his children. He has three kids, all by the same woman. She never wanted to get married, so they cohabitated, and they just grew apart. Never told you about the weed habit. Say, hey, it's what I do. You can either take it or leave it. Now he think he in the boss chair. She said, all right, you know what? Arrivederci. He said, wait a minute, you gonna leave because I smoke weed? Yeah, it's a deal breaker for me. And people don't know. She may have been in an abusive relationship with a man who smoked weed. He would come home high as hell. He was a physically abuser. And she vowed she would never ever date anybody who smoked weed again. You didn't know that because you didn't bother to ask. Why? You didn't want to implicate yourself. You didn't want to say, but I smoke weed and I don't behave like that because now you caught up. You got this female you really digging. You want to marry her. You can see yourself building with her. She's got all the, the boxes checked that you want. You say, hey, we can do this. Things could have been going well, very well. But that's just a deal breaker for it. And some men don't understand that. Some men say, I did everything right. I have everything going for myself. And it's just one little thing that she has a problem with. Yeah. This is why I tell people ask those questions that seem like they are unimportant. Ask those questions. Don't wait. You want to know if she's had abortions? Ask that question. You want to know if she's had any STDs or he's had any STDs or he's had any women have abortions for him? Ask that question. Don't be bashful. Don't be afraid you're going to ruffle somebody's feathers. Don't be afraid you're going to offend somebody. It's better that you offend them now before they get in the house and you offend them and y'all get into an argument and it escalates into a violent altercation. Somebody going to jail because somebody picked up something and threw it at somebody, or somebody slapped or punched somebody. Do it now. Do it early. Ask those questions. Ask the hard questions. Don't wait. Do not wait. Unless you be one of those people who end up on the other side of, I didn't know. He never told me. You ain't asked. The downside.
Also, here's another one of those cons. Less time together. When you're 40, 50, and you look at life expectancy, you may say, "What's the point?" Nah, nay. Um, hey, my father, I'm 52. My grandfather died when he was 68. Uh, my father died when he was like 65. So, shit, I'm 52, 53. I might only got 13 years. Uh, and of course, some people think like that with modern technology and being proactive, which your grandfather and your father may not have been, that you can live longer, but you might have a certain mindset and say, I only got a good 12, 13 years. Shit, I'm gonna go out blazing. So I'm not about to add anything else on. These is my last years of my life, and I'm just gonna live it up. And I'm not concerned about uh, dying old with anybody because shit, based on life expectancy and my family's history, I'm probably not going to live more than 12, 13, 15 years. So I'm going to do what I want to do and not add any other life pressures on based on that. So some people may look at that. But then some people may say, hey, my time is short. Yeah, I want to find someone. I want to spend my latter part of my years with someone, having fun, enjoying each other, and all that. So it depends on the individual. We kind of touched on this before blended families.
Mm-hmm.
If either partner had children from previous relationships, merging families can be complex. As far as a man, and Herb and some of the other fellas always talked about the age of the children. Well, they said say no to single females, but uh, you can look at the age. If you're in your 40s and you're dealing with a woman, she may be in her 30s or something, but she still has like uh, someone that's a kid that's 11, 12, 13, 14, and you're into her, but you may say, nay, I don't like all this activity. Homeboy running in and out of our spot. picking up the kids, dropping off the kids. I'm watching the game. They in the kitchen. His
Mhm.
ass still hanging on for hours at a time. Like, okay, you just spent the weekend. Get your ass up out of here. Say goodbye. And they still hanging around. And then the woman like, oh, we're about to eat dinner. Did you eat and all that stuff? Now you got to look at some guys like, yo, I ain't for all that. So I'm on pass on all that activity, especially depending on the age of the children. So as far as the blended family, so those are things that people may consider. It may be someone say, "Hey, guy may say, well, my kid's old. They older. They out of the house. They got their own lives, and they're pretty stable. So they may show up. They may not when we have some family affair. I can invite them, but I can't guarantee that they're gonna come. Uh, but you're in, especially with, and that's the difference. Like with mothers and fathers, mothers, your kid, you in most cases, you always is always going to be a different closeness with the kids. It's
Mhm.
always going to be a different closeness. Even with sons, they may say, "Hey man, should my mom's having some, my dad having some." And I don't know, my dad's shit might be questionable. We gonna
Yeah.
go to Mom Duke's house. We gonna go to Mom Duke's house, whatever, and we gonna do it right. And so, those are some of the type of things that you have to think about, like when you think about blended families, the age of the kids, and what you're willing to tolerate. Now, don't get me wrong. Shit, sometimes somebody may have younger kids, and they may be the least of the worries. They fall in line. They do what they need to do. They're model kids. And then we had talked about earlier. These grown ass kids may be the issue. They get put out every now and then, and you're like, damn, you come home from work and you walk in and you see bags, and you're like, what the fuck? Who here now? And now you go down to your peace and your sanctuary, your man cave. He down there. Your reclining chair. Your big screen.
With the
Your
beer
big
in his
screen
hand.
TV. Yeah.
No beer in his hand.
Your $100 bottle that you ain't touched. Your cigar shit. All that. And she say, well, you got enough. He all right. I just told him to go down there. What? You don't even come down there like that. Things that you have to think about. You can be real territorial over certain things. Nobody come down here. Okay, if she got grandkids, they better not come down there unless I'm there. Unless I'm down there, they don't come down there. They don't turn on my TV. Don't hook no PlayStation up to my big 85-inch or whatever. Nope, that's not gonna happen. Things you don't think about. But that's some things that women may say, oh, they wasn't hurting you. It was you wasn't there, or you was gone for the weekend, and then but when you come back, your shit a mess. Your shit ain't showing right. Somebody moved this. For one, you can't find your damn remote control, or it's missing a battery. And I know it's petty little stuff, but we talked about as you get older and your habits, you expect certain things and you don't want your things bothered, but your other half may be a little loosey goosey and say, The grandbabies and my kids. My home is your home, no matter what. You could always come back. So
Yep,
that's something to think about.
yep. It most certainly is. I mean, like David said, there's not much more to add to that. Um, you got to be thorough. When dealing with each other's kids. I mean, like David said, for some people, it's hey, carte blanche. You can, like you said, you can always come back here. Mama's gonna be mama, no matter what the world do to you. You have a place. And we saw that with the movie Baby Boy, I believe that was Arrested Development, and it seems to happen more so with millennials and zillennials than it does with Gen X. Baby boomers, they're too damn old for that. But Gen X, we don't see a lot of Gen X men and women, for that matter, moving back home. Even though some might struggle with the financials, they find a way. The younger generations, they have not reached that level of maturity and ability yet. So we see it, the delay in childbirth. They can't afford to buy homes. Where do you think they stand at? Who you think is financing their existence? Mom and maybe dad. We know mom's not turning her back. Rarely does a mother ever turn her back on the children, regardless of the situation. You have to do something pretty substantial for a woman to turn her back on her children. That's just the way it is. It doesn't have to be good, doesn't have to be bad. I just tell people sometimes, in order for you to get by in life, you have to accept that things only require an understanding. You may not know why, you may not know how. The only thing you know is the who and the what. He needed $4,000. She took him down to the bank, got the money wired to his account, and that was all you know. And you sitting there saying, that's the third time in 3 months he came to you for that kind of money. Don't he work? Nah, he got anxiety. He got depression. Um, Depression. He out here getting pregnant. What is he depressed by? Something ain't depressed. And those are the excuses and things we hear. So, there's things to think about, both sides. And that dad might have one of his own. He might have a daughter who out here running around here, multiple kids by multiple men. She got an apartment. She can't make rent. Her car's looking to get repossessed. She come to dad, I need 6 grand. For what? Well, the rent's due on my apartment. Um, my car notes due. Aren't you staying with your boyfriend? Yeah. Don't he work? Sometimes. You let this grown ass man stay in your house and he barely work? What is he good for? Oh, never mind. I don't need to ask that question. We know what he's good for. Why? Why you telling? Because I love him, Dad. I don't. You ain't got to love him. Yeah, but I'm financing his lifestyle, so there's have to be something about him that I like. I don't like the fact that he take this money and get out of here. Don't come back for no more. No, full of well he lying. Because why? She's daddy's little girl. And dad can't never tell her no. And I was listening to a podcast today. I don't know who it was. And the gentleman said, and I wholeheartedly agree. He said, if a father cannot tell his daughter no, he does not truly love her. And not only was that statement profound, it was apropos of what we're talking about. Because if any parent can't establish a boundary with their children in terms of what they're going to do and what they won't do, those children will never mature and get to a point where they really will be self-sufficient on their own financially. And that's tough to watch your children struggle. But if you did right by them when you raise them, you got to let them sink and swim on their own accord. Far be it for me to tell you out there how to handle your child, but I'm telling you what the big bad wolf would do. Once you leave this den with all your teeth and all your paws and your coat in place, you better make it work. Better make it work.
That's a deal breaker. And one of the things I think the youngest in charge has said that when shout out to Shaughnessy, um, when she said, well, when you think about couples 40s or 50s, and a person has a lot of uh grandkids, they need a babysitter. So for a guy, more than likely, if it's a woman that has a lot of grandkids, guess where they coming? Guess where they coming? And I just mentioned earlier, shit, your remote control, you're missing batteries. The back of your remote control is gone. That irritates you. You got crayons and shit all in your couch cushions and all, all types of stuff. You know, she didn't put. You got your little refrigerator. You open that shit up and you looking for your last cold Modelo, whatever. Got Capri Suns and shit all up in there. Like, like yo, what is happening here? So you have to think about all of that because again, when you get a certain age, you're used to certain ways of living. But then if you decide to say, you know what, we're gonna join forces and unite together, you got to think about all the other things. Like, are you really built for it? Because if not, if you're in your 50s and that doesn't work, sooner or later you have to start thinking, just like a older sports team or whatever. Like, how many opportunities do I have at this? When is my window gonna close that I'm still gonna be able to say, you know what?
I got a shot.
He's he's still he's still that dude. I still want to be with him. Hey, if me and him can make a run at it, we could get married. Sooner or later, those opportunities gonna dwindle, and you know where you're gonna be next after that. Grace's Manor. You'll be sitting there eating pudding and ice cream with your neighbor, both of y'all on y'all walkers. I know sometimes I might paint a bleak picture, but it's the truth for some. So some of the things has to be calculated and know yourself. Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do well. I'm not gonna do well with all this traffic going in and out of my house. I'm not gonna do well with all these crumb snatchers coming over. That me and her talked about having a quiet weekend. We just gonna do something. We gonna lay low. The weather's supposed to be cold. It's supposed to be icy outside. So we already went to the store. We gonna have some drinks, good dinner. watch some good movies, and got the fireplace going. But guess what? Lakeisha called. Daddy couldn't babysit. They dad couldn't babysit. And she signed up for a double
Mm, mm, mm.
Saturday and Sunday. Guess who them little 4 or 5 little kids gonna be?
And you know the funny thing about that is this. Let's switch that up a little bit. Let's say they decided to go out of town. Now, what he don't know is moms that gave a key to her and said, "Hey, if you need, you come by. They out of town. They come back home. The house is not how they left it. You got crumbs all on the table. You got some celery crushed into the rug. This is all in the sink. And somebody that burned a bunch of stuff in the Pyrex and left that mess there and cleaned up the first, and you out of there, and they gone. Come back home and say, "What the hell happened?" You check, nobody broke in, and she finally tell you, "Oh, I gave my daughter a key. I told her, look, if you need to, you come by, you make yourself at home." Well, not only did she make herself at home, she left a mess for you to clean up. That's not what you want when you get back in town. You want to have to clean up your house. You left your house immaculate. You go in the bedroom, all the beds are messed up, including your bed. They sleeping in your bed. That sounds like a song.
Mm.
Mm, mm.
Again, you may say, "Oh, y'all being facetious," but y'all know this is true. Y'all know how people get caught up
Yeah, I
in
was gonna say, I
jams,
already.
and you can't say no. And you know, like we were saying, he was looking forward to it. Like, man, I can't wait. This weekend, me and wife ain't doing nothing. We ain't doing nothing. We ain't being bothered. We about to catch up, and it's long overdue. I've been putting in these burning the midnight candle working. She been working like crazy, and we had this on the calendar for a long time. But again, daughter called or son called, said, "Mom, could you pick up the kids? Uh, she tripping, whatever. We going through it. Uh, she ended up leaving, whatever. Left me with the kids. I gotta work. Could you do you mind keeping them?" Me and your dad, your stepbrother, me and Melvin said we was gonna do this, but I guess I have to tell him that we gonna have some company because I'm not gonna have you miss your not go to work. You just started that job, so I don't understand why she did that. Yeah, she walked it, and there you go. That whole weekend plan was shot. Next time they come up, maybe 5 or 6 months later, that y'all both schedule fall in line, that y'all had that time together. I mean, and this again, it's just some examples that of some of the cons on why. Um, but to shift it back to the positive side, companionship. I kind of touched on that before. Well, love and commitment. If two people are genuinely in love and committed to each other, age can just be a number. So it don't matter if you say you 50, 60. Yeah, I love each other. Your heart's in the right place. And yeah, I feel like, hey, this is it. Nothing can stop you. You may not have a big marriage ceremony and all that. You don't want all that. Maybe I had something partial back in the days, both of you, maybe remarried or whatever. Now you just say, hey, we just want to go down to the Justice of Peace and we're going to have a nice, small, intimate gathering amongst our family and we're going to have a ball. We're going to have a ball and that's that. And we're not going to spend that much money because we got other things to do with our money. We're not trying
Mhm.
to impress everybody. If somebody mad and they see pictures on social media and all that, I ain't getting an invite. Oh well, they'll get over it. But see, a lot of it is that show and tell factor. A lot of people, y'all still, I remember that back in first, second kindergarten, show and tell. Social media became show and tell to y'all. What? Getting married and we ain't got no big ceremony. I want them to film every aspect. Coming into church, us getting our makeup done and all that, our nails and our toes done. Wait, I need all that footage. He may not be about that. Like, yo, I'm not putting all my money into that. I am not putting 10, 15, 20,000 into that. To invite people who don't really give a damn. They just want to be nosy.
Mhm.
Or people who come and then you go through everything and you find out you done invited a bunch of people and they gave you cards with like $10 in it or nothing. Not that you in it for that, but damn. Uh realize that you spent all this money that if you got invited, you should want to give something. He may say, I'm not even about to go through all that. I'm not even about to be like, okay, this is in our budget. Well, we can't invite this person. We can't invite that person. And what you gonna do? So you keep it simple, and then you have a gathering somewhere, and it don't gotta be big. And shit, you can invite as many people as you want.
Mhm.
Stuff that you have to think about, because some people still in their 40s or 50s still chasing that big wedding. That's all they want. That's all they ever thought about, even at 50. So, is your partner for that or what? Or if you are you the partner to say, yeah, that's what she want, that's what she gonna get, and you know damn well you don't want that, and you don't want that financial hit either. Because all that, oh, the father pay for this, or the groom and all that, throw that shit. That's trash.
Yeah,
Throw that shit out the window.
that's not
That's only
happening.
for people got money like that. Throw that shit out the window.
There was the link I posted earlier on there said one of the things that older couples like to do, just like you were mentioning, destination weddings. They have the finances, they have the means. It's a way to keep all the riffraff away and people who just want to be nosy, small, intimate crowd. My boy did it. Um, Probably about 5 years ago. Unfortunately, I didn't make it, but I sure as hell would have liked to. But that's what a lot of people are doing. The older crowd. They got the money, they got the means. It's something they always wanted to do. You got the wedding and the honeymoon all in one spot. So I mean, these are all the things that people need to consider. What do you want? What do you want? I'll get you some food. These are all the things that we're kind of laughing through this, but it's serious. It's serious business. It really is. So all these things, if you're considering getting married and you're on the other side of 40, sit down and have this conversation. Get you a pen and paper, check by check, item by item, like you would do your checkbook, and have a heart to heart, because that's the only way you're gonna turn over every stone. You're gonna discuss everything. Yeah, it is. It might be some hard feelings afterwards, but you'll know where you stand. It's better to have those hard feelings before you do anything permanent as opposed to after. Because if you do things afterwards, it's going to be a whole lot worse. Not only would you guys never ever be on one accord, you may never even be cordial. At least this way up front, it doesn't matter if you're on one accord, but you'll always be cordial because you'll say, you know what? At least this individual took the time to sit down and talk with me about this and that. And that's all you can ever want from anybody is the truth. The truth in them dealing with you, the truth of where they stand, and everything else that comes along with that. I mean, just like I tell people, if you listen last week, I'm I'm 53. The lady was almost a decade older. No hard feelings. She made her stands on a couple key points. Cool. Nobody got hurt. Couple hours conversation. I learned. Matter of fact, I learned some exceedingly invaluable things in that outing, and Um, I'll share those with the men one day. I think it's the things that I learned um, are more geared for men and how they can move. Um, are they amenable to women? I suppose so. But women tend to, in certain situations, women tend to not bend, if you will, to what men want. The only way that happens is if they're looking to manipulate the man, and that man has something, and it's generally money that they want, or maybe his genetic material. They see him as a means to an end to a child that might, you know, do well in some type of sports. Who knows why women select the men that they do in terms of getting pregnant? But that's out of my pay grade because pregnancy is not a realm that I deal in, and especially when it comes to genetic material. I'm like, hey, sorry, I can't do that. They built for it.
Excuse me. So it's a lot. Where some of it, like Herb said, we laugh, do it all, but it's all reality. It's all thoughts that you have to think about that you probably never thought about. And sometimes you just, hey, people just hook up for certain reasons. I had said before, a lot of times when you're 40s and 50s, a lot of times it's at like family functions or friend functions, whatever, that, you know, good time. You see people, and, a lot of single people there, or and maybe somebody that you haven't seen in a while. And you realize they single, like, and you start talking. Next thing you know, you're like, hey, right, like what you doing this weekend? And connections happen. But guess you got to be prepared for those courageous conversations afterwards, especially when you plan to get together. So it's so many, so many different variables. Again, like we talked about, career wise, retirement, uh, hobbies, passions, things that you don't want to give no ground with, or you say to yourself, that's a non negotiable. I need to do this, I need to do that. So put it out there. Great conversation. Looking at the time, try to keep it under a certain window. Not gonna belabor the point, but y'all know this gonna come up again. It's gonna be something. It's gonna be some hot ticket item related to this, and we'll say, "Damn, we just talked about that last night," or uh, a week ago. But I'm gonna give you, Big Bad Wolf, your closing comment toward marriage in 40s over, yay or nay, and we gonna get up out of here.
Don't be surprised if you hear about nuptials and associated with my name. I'm just saying, I'm not opposed to it, but you only hear about it afterwards, like after. And she's probably gonna say, "Hey, I like the couch windows leaning up against the wall." Go with an understanding the curves in the gray area. Godspeed. See you next time.
Feel like the Big Bad Wolf got something cooking. Yeah, share. I feel like something's cooking. Uh, Remodeling of the home. I feel like something's in the air. We don't know. But anyways, folks, always good conversations. I always tell you that little things lead to big things. All of these things are connected. Uh, you may not like everything you hear, but it's something that you can get that you can relate to. That's how it's always been. In fact, shit, I just thought about it the other day. Y'all realize cocktail conversations came out almost in a couple weeks, 11 years ago. Like, so these conversations been brewing between myself, her, uh, others, where I gathered scenarios from in this type of platform for 11 years. 11 years. So a lot of people they don't have the they start out trying to have these conversations, but they don't last. This thing been going on 11 years, these conversations. So you can't say nobody didn't inform you or you didn't hear anything. Maybe you didn't tune in, maybe just watch the clips or whatever the case is. But some about loyalty and dedication. And that's one of the things too about this whole marriage in your 40s and overs, yeah or nay. Got to be built for it. Got to have these conversations. You got to have the uncomfortable conversations, and you got to see what really is it for you or not. And I think that was one of the questions: is marriage in the 40s, 50s, or 60s for you? That's what you got to figure out, people. It ain't for me to figure out. It ain't for the big bad wolf to figure out. Got to figure it out on your own. You got to talk. But one thing you can do: be careful who you go to for advice, uh, because some of the people that y'all rely on to, I know damn well they have nothing to give you. But, and I'll say this, and I just said this to someone a couple of days ago. Men know when to cut the next man off. Men know, like, okay, I'm gonna feed you with a wooden spoon. Yeah, ladies, y'all hold on to friendships forever, unless it gets real drastic and real nasty. But if it don't get to the point, y'all hold on to friendships that y'all think that's friendships that ain't friendships, and they constantly give you poor advice. Guys don't really go to too many people unless they know they solid. They don't put their business out there like that. Yeah, I don't give a damn. Somebody say hi, hey, how y'all doing? Yeah, tell it all. Tell it all. Tell it all. So those are the things that you got to be mindful, little subtle things, whatever, to make any of this work. Marriage in the 40s, yay or nay? Take your pick. Uh, eh, we just gave y'all information. It ain't for us. It ain't cemented that y'all have to go by that. Just got some gems to think about. On that note, we out. On to the next one. Everybody be safe. The weather's getting a little cooler. Cuffing season kicking in. Uh, of the shorts and the short sleeve shirts and all that stuff. It's time to get into the fall dressing. I love fall dressing. Best time of the
Sweaters
year
and hoodies.
to dress for the fall. Huh?
Sweaters and hoodies and turtlenecks.
And best time of the year to dress, whatever the colors and all that stuff. But all right, good people, y'all be safe, and then also be mindful. It's getting close to the holiday season. A lot of things
Yes.
going on, whatever. A lot of people, again, we say this every year, desperate and all that. People, be aware. Just stay aware and alert, folks. When situations don't look right, it may not be right. But we'll talk about that in the next upcoming weeks, whatever, as we get closer and closer to the holiday season. All right, folks, we out. On to the next one. See y'all next time. Peace.
Take care.